Are you trying to get a consistent flow of freelance writing work or jobs or clients from platforms or job ads or just scurrying around like a little mouse looking for like bits and pieces of work? That's not how you get them. Okay, we are going to talk about how you can get a consistent flow of freelance writing work in this video. And this isn't as complicated as it seems. A lot of times, it's more about understanding what to look for and what types of clients to go after rather than the jobs themselves. So I've often seen this where writers look at the job, like they're looking at the end product of just the work rather than looking at the clients or how much work that client might have or figuring out who's the right client for them. So that's what we're going to go over today. Hey, Holly. Yes, mouse time. The other thing so before we get into this, the Wealth Lab is open. So if you were someone who asked me about the Wealth Lab, hold on, where is it? If you go to, hey Marie, if you go to mandyellis.com/course, my 10-week course, Freelance Writer Wealth Lab, is open for enrollment right now. So here's the deal. It's a 10-week course that gives you my proven, client-tested, step-by-step blueprint so that you can build a high-earning freelance writing business you adore. There's a ton of bonuses in there. And this is one of the last times that I'm offering the course at this price. So if you've been interested in the course, go check it out. This price is one of the last times you're going to see it for both the payment plan and the pay in full. The other thing is that you're going to get bonuses, like you're going to get twice weekly live Q&As. You can ask questions whenever you want. So if you can't show up live, no big deal. All your questions get answered. You're also going to have 10 weeks of access to our private Wealth Lab community, which is another student favorite. They love the live Q&As. They love the community where you get to ask, you get to find accountability buddies. You get to ask questions. You get to get feedback on your work or your website or LinkedIn. So those are two of the bonuses. The other bonus is that you get the Secrets of Six-Figure Freelance Writers call. So I got my friends who make between 100 and 300 grand to hop on and tell you how they got to six figures, if that's something you want to do in your business, what their roadblocks are, what their struggles were, what types of things they did to change their business, all that good stuff. And then you're also going to have a tech library. So you are going to end up having lots of templates, examples, different types of worksheets, and links out to places where you can get everything that you need. So the tech library takes you step by step through how to set up certain tools, how I do my own work. Like I show you a video of how I do my own writing work. It also gives you like a ton of stuff about what you should look for in ideal clients. It gives you a lot of good stuff to basically put on that new pair of glasses for your business. So if you're interested in the course, this is go to mandyellis.com/course to check it out. It is, yeah, and the Wealth Lab does rock, Marie. I like that in the chat. Hey, Vicky, I always love the wave. So yeah, so the Wealth Lab is open right now. It's open until the 21st, so a week from today. If you're interested in it, check it out. And other announcement that I wanted to put in, I have one final masterclass. Is it this one? Yeah, I have one more masterclass. It's the coming Wednesday, so it's April 19th. It's at 12 p.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Central, 3 p.m. Eastern, and 7 p.m. GMT or 8 p.m. BST, right? So like British Standard Time, you just switched over from GMT. So it's at 7 p.m. GMT, 8 p.m. British Standard Time. That's my last masterclass. If you go to mandyellis.com/masterclass3, it's my last free masterclass until September. It teaches you specific steps to build your own high-earning freelance writing business. You don't have to do any sleazy gross marketing. I'm giving you all the things that I cherry-picked from my own six-figure business to help you really identify better clients, get paid more, no more red light clients, no more feast and famine. So if you're interested in that free class, go to mandyellis.com/masterclass3 to sign up. Okie dokie. Yeah, Marie says the templates alone and the Q&As are so worth it. Yeah, that's still a student favorite. All the templates in the examples and videos in the tech library have been a big bonus, plus getting their questions answered on the live Q&A. Marie says the Wealth Lab rocks. The Wealth Lab does rock. Let's get to today's topic. So, like I said, there's also the masterclass. So the Wealth Lab does rock, but so does the masterclass. I just got an email. I should share this. I just got an email from someone who took the free masterclass 2 days ago, I think, or maybe 3 days ago. They already got an answer on an LOI that they sent. So their letter of introduction. So after I taught them about how to do that, they already got a response. They're already getting more traction in their business. So the free masterclass also rocks. Let's talk about number 1 here. So when we're thinking about how to get more work, boop, 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 boop. Hold on. I got to pull up my notes. So, oh, okay. It doesn't like that code. All right. So number 1, when we're thinking about our freelance writing business, we don't want to focus on the jobs part. The freelance writing jobs part is not the answer. The client's part is the answer. So when we're securing these consistent jobs or these long-term projects, what we need to focus on is how to get in touch with our actual ideal clients, right? So we are setting up our freelance writing business so that we're attracting those clients with our LinkedIn and our website. We want to reduce the amount of friction it takes for someone to like work with us, but we also want to over time have our website and LinkedIn do a lot more work for us so we don't have to do as much marketing. So we actually get better quality inbound leads, right? Marie says this is like the baby Q&A and the Wealth Lab is like getting a PhD. Yeah. This is the live stream. The live stream is like the kind of like the Q&A in a way. But it's also like we just get to scratch the surface on these topics. But with the Wealth Lab, we get to go like super deep. All right. So we want our LinkedIn and our website to do a lot of work. That means we need to understand our ideal client so that we can write our LinkedIn and our website content to fit our ideal client. So that also means you need to understand what that looks like, right? So this is something that I feel like freelance writers miss a lot. Like they're often looking at job postings or platforms or whatever saying like, oh, I should do that job. I'm perfect for that job. Like instead of evaluating what they want in a client or evaluating what they bring to the table as a writer, like their skills, their experience, their knowledge and their expertise, right? They're just like treating it like a full-time job. They're like, how do I find another full-time job? How do I send this cover letter? And that's not it at all. Your consistent flow of freelance writing work comes from you digging for the diamonds. This is something that I think is really important. You have to do the work to go find the clients. And this is another thing where your your long-term projects are not posted. They're not. Like, I think I said this in the masterclass, the free masterclass the other day, where like, I think maybe like, I don't think I've had anything in the past few years. There might have been 1 or 2 offhand things that has literally been posted on the internet somewhere. Like that's not a thing. Like your job is to go find clients that you think you can help or who are producing content, because a lot of times those clients struggle behind the scenes. If you can then sync up with them, right? You are building a business that either attracts them with your LinkedIn or website, or you're sending those pitches, you're sending those LOIs, your letters of introduction. Those things all sync up so you can find the clients you can help, and they struggle with all this stuff behind the scenes. They don't post it on the internet saying like, hey, I'm struggling creating all this content. They're just like, here's a new piece of content, right? So those are things you have to pay attention to. You have to understand that your clients are not posting this stuff on the internet. They're not sharing their struggles, right? But what we can do is set up a lot of different holes for them to fall into, right? The right clients fall into the right holes. So what that means is that our business, we got an active friend. We got some raking. Hold on. We got an active friend. Hold on, active friend. Here you go. There you go. Now you can lay down. No? Barry. Barry. And now he's like giving me this look like, why would you do this to me? Hi, James. Welcome. Barry. Barry's lived 2 more weeks than we thought he would. I don't know how. I don't know why. But here he is, still alive. And he's back to being his old sassy self. That's something that we've been talking about with our vet is like, or, you know, we have sheets too for his palliative care because he's really, really old. He's 16 and a half. Okay, I guess he's settling now. Oh no, now the other one's active. No, there she goes. Anyways, we've been talking to his vet, like, is he changing? Is, you know, are things different now? And nope, he apparently had an emergency incident, which we thought was the end, which was not. Yes, we're talking about you. And He's back to being super sassy, back to wanting all the snacks and treats and all the stuff. And yeah, it's just nuts. Here you go, buddy. You're doing great today. You need an eye cleaning. He has like this bump on his eye that we're working on. Yeah. Hi, sweets. Can you go back to your hover hole? Thank you. All right, sweets. He just got goop all over your pet bed and bits. All right. Can you give everybody a high five? Yeah. Oh, oh, that was cute because it's stuck in the blanket. Good job. All right, Barry. How about you lay down, buddy? I just get worried if you're like, oh, she's escaping. Yeah, he has his support duck. He's back to being super sassy. He's like 1,000 years old, and he's still kicking. Go back to your hover hole. No, you got to go back to your hover hole. Yeah, take your blankie with you. Good job. All right, let's give him those high fives. Superstar. Okay. Charlotte's doing fine, by the way. she's like, why is everybody so concerned about Barry? Like, she's like, he's fine. Don't worry about Barry. Yeah. Oh, and she's leaving. All right, let's get back to our topic. So what we're doing here is attracting people, right? We are understanding, like, this is something that I go into deep in the Wealth Lab, is pain points of your clients and like how that makes sense and how that works. So the deal is that if you can explain your clients' struggles to them, they automatically think you have the solution. That's a quote from Simon Sinek. So if you can explain your clients' pain points or struggles back to them, like, hey, do you struggle with this? Or are you having a hard time with that? Or, you know, when it comes to content, are you really struggling to create ideas and blog posts that convert or blog posts that get a lot of shares, right? If you can identify their pain points and the things they struggle with, and you share that on LinkedIn and your website, they automatically think you have the solution. They think that you get them, which you do, right? And then they want to hire you. So, oh my gosh, you look so cute today. So this is our really important piece. So your clients care about this stuff, and I've talked about this on the live stream, right? Your clients care about likes, shares, clicks, subscribers, leads, sales. Hello? They care about those kinds of things that actually do the marketing part of the content. This is something that gets lost with a lot of freelance writers who don't have consistent work. They don't understand that this is the regular part of the work. In order to get results, you have to create consistent content, right? If you are aligning with, oh no, everybody's harassing me now. If you align with clients that are like, let's do one blog post or let's just see how this goes, they're missing the whole reason why we do content as a piece of marketing, content marketing writer, right? So this is the thing where we're attracting the right clients by explaining their pain points and then connecting those pain points, right, to what our skills are. You have to figure out what your skills are as a writer. Like, are you a good researcher? Are you good with details? Do you have specific niche experience? Like you were working, you know, in a lab for 20 years, or you were like you were like managing a grocery store for a super long time, so you understand a lot of things about logistics and grocery stores and food supply and different types of businesses that interact with a grocery store. Yes, Woo. Woo, go back to your hover hole. Everybody's spicy today. This is an important topic. Okay, go back up. Can you back up? I don't remember if you remember how to do that. Can you go back over there? Or do I need to put a snack over there for you? Okay, Barry, go get the snack. Good job. That was a nice hop. Good job, buddy. All right, Charlie. Charlie, you have to stay in your hobbit hole, okay? Can we agree on that? You know, if you shake on this deal, it's legally binding. We don't have electronic signatures, but we have blanket agreements. This is our blanket agreement, right? So you're going to stay in your hobbit hole over here. Okay? Not harass me. No, what are you doing? Where are you going? You're supposed to be the one who's like old, and you're the one standing up and making a scene. Okay. That's what we want to do. You got to figure out your writer skills, right? And we want to translate those writer skills, experience, knowledge, connect those to your client pain points, put that in LinkedIn and put that in your website, and you will attract way better gigs, right? Way better gigs, way better clients, way more consistent work. This is a piece that is often forgotten by writers. They don't pay attention to their online presence. They just pay attention to their portfolio. They're like, oh, if they just see my portfolio, they'll just magically hire me. Nope, that's not how it works. They have to find you first. And in order to find you, you got to work on that LinkedIn copy and you got to work on that website copy, right? That's really important. I know. Yes, Barry knows. Like I know you can only like partially see him. There he is. But yeah, I don't know. I don't get it. He's like, okay, you guys, a couple weeks ago, he was he was in an emergency situation. I'll go over it later because otherwise I might get upset. But he was in an emergency situation and it was very serious. And yesterday or the day before, he ran across the yard. I seriously, like, I think he got bit by a radioactive spider. Like, we literally, he was on the, we were really scared about losing him. And we really thought we were. Like, we really thought we were going to say goodbye to him. Nope. He survived. And not only did he survive, he's a sassy, spicy little animal, and he still runs across the yard. So, by some magic, he's still living. And I don't know what happened, or I mean, I know what happened with him that time, but I don't know how he improved to the point that he has now where he's like basically back to normal. I don't know. He needs to be studied by science. Like if there's like a place where you can send dogs to be studied by science, let me know because he needs to go. Okay. The other thing that we're talking about here with our attracting our long-term projects is you need to talk about that. If you want it, you have to ask for it and talk about it. Okay. That means in your LinkedIn, you say together when we work on these long-term goals, or together when we secure a project, we're working on regular blog posts. Like, you are using words that signal you are looking for partnerships, relationships, long-term work, people who care about getting results over a period of time, right? We need to attract people who are interested in that. Red light clients are just like, can you do it today? Like, do it immediately. And they're like, we'll give you $200. And you're like, oh, thank God it's money. No, we want to shift that. We want to have people who get into your inbox with that long-term work because they're looking to build a relationship with the right writer. And you have signaled that in your copy for LinkedIn and your website. You have said, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking, like, your call to action is like, do you want a partner? Instead of saying like, do you just need a blog post today? Right? Hi, Bug. Oh no, now you're in Minnie's seat. Now she's going to be really upset. We're doing all of these things as a way to get our consistent freelance writing work coming to us. And we're also signaling to specific clients, right? And this is something I talk about often. We got to be on the same frequency. High quality clients, your green light choice prime clients, are not interested in the same stuff as red light clients. You have to meet those high quality clients on their frequency. They're not going to come down to yours, see your clips, and be like, oh, you just messed up your LinkedIn. Let's just do this. That hardly ever happens. What you need to do is meet them at their level. You need to meet high quality clients who have pipelines of work at their level with your content. This attracts them in. That's our first piece. Our second piece, hold on a second. Number two. So our number two piece here is when what we're working on today. So what we're doing today for our regular writing jobs and our regular writing work and retainers and recurring ongoing projects. Stop looking at job ads. This is something I still get. They're like, how do you find clients? Like, what platforms are you using? I'm not. The platforms I'm using are only to do recon on my clients. Like, they are they are to figure out, like, do they have the right revenue? Are these clients creating content? What does their content look like? What does social media look like? What types of content are they doing? And then how do I find their email address? And then how do I reach out to them? Like, it's not this, I'm not looking for a job. I am looking for who I can help. Who looks like they need, can you see this? There you go. Oh, good job. We did it. Hey, vet. So the deal is, like, you are, you are making you are using a process. There we go. You are using a process to go do these things. You're not like seeking out the job posting. You're not like, you are digging for diamonds. You have to dig for diamonds. Like, they don't just appear on job board. Like, every time I used to accept stuff from job boards. So I used to do that in my very early freelance writing days. I used to treat it like a full-time job where I would go and read job boards. I would read the LinkedIn board. I would like try to find people posting about jobs. That's not the case. You've got to dig for diamonds. So what that means is that today, starting today, you need to make sure that you are making a list of clients, cutting them down by revenue. And this is something I've shared before, right? The revenue is at least 5 to 50 million for a regular business, 3 to 10 million for a startup. Then you're going to send LOIs, your letters of introduction, and then you're going to send a pitch if it's a magazine, right? So these things are all about like understanding that it's your job to find your good long-term clients. It's your job to understand what your best client looks like, right? It's your job to figure out what types of content they're creating. It's your job to figure out if that client is creating the types of work that you would be proud to have, or like they need help with quality or whatever. Oh, there we go. So it's your job to do that. Your job is not supposed to just like go to a cattle call. That's not it. Your job is to dig for the diamonds, which means finding lists and then understanding, like, this is something that I think a lot of writers miss as well when it comes to consistent work, is like the more you read these lists and you read articles and you participate with like newsletters, or you get press releases or subscriptions that talk about your niche or that explain what's going on, and you understand, like, you start honing who your ideal client is, it's really fast. It's really easy to go find a list and pick 10 companies out of there saying like, yes, I know these are the perfect fit for me, rather than having to put all of these companies on there and evaluate them. Like you start honing this. Like, that's why I talk about the new pair of glasses. The more you do the process, the more you're wearing the new pair of glasses, and the easier it is to identify who your clients are. This also means you have to actually, oops, I just dropped a piece on the ground. Okay. Hold on. Okay, here you go. This also means, here you go, that you have to actually do it, right? You have to send the LOIs. You have to get on client calls. You have to actually go through the process to learn and get that experience. Oh, thank you for the leg lifts. You probably just want more snacks. You actually have to do that, right? So what you're doing is putting all these things into practice. You're putting in the practice of understanding what lists to look at. You're looking at a bunch of things in your niche. You're understanding what types of companies are getting funding. You're also actually talking to your clients by sending LOIs and getting on calls, okay? You are eliminating the clients who obviously don't have long-term work. They're just like, we're just going to try it out. And you're like, no. So your consistent flow of work comes from processes. It comes from understanding who your client is. It comes from updating that LinkedIn and website. It comes from this nice, like, they're kind of like I always call it like a little terrarium. There's like a little terrarium where like things grow in our little space, and you have to kind of like learn how to take care of them. And you have to learn how to, like, when you need to let something go, right? A lot of plants, like rose bushes are a good example. You have to trim them, right? In order to have your roses flourish, you're supposed to trim them. And that's what you need to do with your business. If you want to keep the roses flourishing, you have to trim all the other stuff. You have to learn how to do that. Here you go, buddy. There you go. There's a lot of pieces in there where we are understanding more by going through the process. So if you're someone who just doesn't go through that process, and you're just like, yeah, I'm going to all of these cattle calls, or like, yes, I've tried this thing, and you're not actually speaking with your ideal clients, and you're not actually going through the process of finding your own clients, not just going on these job boards and platforms and stuff, the more you get on calls, the more like it becomes very apparent what your clients need help with and what they struggle with in terms of content. Feed that back into LinkedIn and website, and you attract more of those clients, right? Our actual process is also about asking them, what are you doing? Why are you doing it? This is something that writers are like, they get on these calls and they become so panicked. And I used to do this. And I told this, actually, this is something I say often, but I also said on the free masterclass, was like, I used to get so nervous on client calls that I would have to drink a ton of water, and I'd have to go to the bathroom all the time because I was so cotton mouth. Like I was so nervous. My mouth was so dry. I drank a ton of water, and like, it was just embarrassing. And it's just part of the process sometimes to like understand it's not that big of a deal. Like, your clients it's just another call. It'll work or it doesn't. You'll figure it out. I always got on these calls being like, oh my God, I have to sell them, or I have to make them, like, I really have to convince them to hire me. And that's just not the case. Like, it's not like that. You're getting on these calls for a bunch of different reasons. Yes, you may get a project. Yes, you may find a wonderful client, but you might also get a ton of really valuable information about what types of projects you can expect, what types of green light attributes or things in that client you really like, and what types of things you don't like. Then you can start filtering better for which types of clients you actually want to work with long term, right? Those calls are invaluable. Like just talking to someone and getting a feel for them and understanding like what is kind of what's their thought process for content, what's their thought process for working with a writer, what does their budget look like, why are they creating this content, are they going to measure the success of this content, do they do contracts, like what's kind of going on. All of that stuff is super important to aligning with those right long-term projects. All right, let's do a quick pup date because everyone's over here harassing me. Hey, Vesna. All right, can you go back over there? Can you go see that? I'm gonna probably get it. Okay, Barry. I know that you're like, come here, buddy. Go over there. Can you see that? Good job. Okay. All right, Charles. Go back to your hobbit hole. Go back to your hobbit hole. I know Bo left like a bunch of drips and stuff all over your hobbit hole space. Boop. All right, Charlotte. This is our blanket agreement. We're going into our blanket agreement again, where you need to make sure that you're Barry, get out of there. Get out of her space. Back up. Back up. Here you go, bud. Go find that one. Yes. Good job. Good girl. Why are you so cute today? Oh, you drooled all over my hands. I didn't realize the drool factory was going. All right, Barry. Oh, Charlotte, go back. Charlotte, you look like a princess with your little thing behind you. Hopefully Barry will find that and then he'll lay down. Hold on. Did you find it? Good job, buddy. Why don't you come over here? Good job. Okay. Ew. You just coughed all over my foot. Ugh, gross. Ew. This is a disaster, you guys. You're everywhere. Go back to your hobbit hole. You just want to harass me. Go back to your hobbit hole. Go back to your hobbit hole. Don't put on the brakes. Go back to your hobbit hole. Thank you. All right. James says, I just changed my LinkedIn headline to include I write content that both Google and humans love. Is that an effective headline? No. No. What you want your headline to be is niches and then what you do. So like freelance content marketing writer, freelance content strategist, freelance writer, and then you want your niches because that tagline is searchable, right? What we want to do with our LinkedIn tagline is that someone's going to search like freelance fintech writer or whatever. And we want to be able to come up in the search results for that. So when we put in a complicated long sentence, like I write content that both Google and humans love, that's not, no one's searching for that. No one's Googling that. And our LinkedIn headline space is super important and it's also very short. So you need to put your title up there, whatever you want, freelance copywriter, freelance content marketing writer, freelance content strategist, whatever you want. Then your niches. And then if you do specialize in a type of writing, so like, for example, I know that there's some writers who specialize in, all right, stay here. Good job. There's writers who specialize in case studies and white papers. Then I would put that in there because then you have the option of freelance content marketing writer or freelance copywriter or whatever coming up with that tag. But that's it. Like that's all pure, like what you want for SEO and what you want to come up in search results. So every time someone puts a giant sentence in there, no one's searching for that. You're just kind of making it more difficult for people to find you. That tagline is LinkedIn is all like, that is all about people finding you. So your title, freelance, whatever you want to call yourself, content writer, freelance writer, freelance content marketing writer, freelance copywriter, freelance content strategist, freelance brand messaging strategist, whatever you feel like your title is, followed by niches. And then if you're someone who has been in the freelance game for a while and you specialize in a type of content, put that in there. Okie dokie. Yay. Happy Friday, Yvette. Happy Friday. So let's talk about three. Let's talk about three here. We've got a woo machine next to me. Let's talk about three. Charlotte, in order to talk about three, you have to go back to your hobbit hole because you're being a sass and somehow Barry looks like a prince. Barry's over there looking like a beautiful prince. Good job, Barry. Beautiful prince for you. You get a snack. Good job. Charlotte, go back to your hovel. All right, Charlie. All right, remember our blanket agreement. You have to stay here, okay? You can't stand next to me and claw my leg, even though you're super cute. Watch, she's gonna like leave in 1 second. You have to stay there. Okay? We agreed. She's like, why do you do this to me? All right, let's talk about 3. Oh, also, if you found this helpful so far, give it a thumbs up. If you want to learn more about building your own amazing freelance writing business, subscribe. Don't move. Okay, let's talk about this. What was 3? Oh, when we're talking about our potential clients, right? So we got to get on those calls. This is a video that I talked about potential client questions. You have to ask these in order to align with the right clients who have long-term work and a consistent flow of projects, and you have multiples, like you need 3 to 5-ish freelance writing clients. You have to ask them these questions. So I will put a link in the description below for the questions, but there's a video on my channel on YouTube that talks about all the questions you need to ask. And you have to ask these. Like you can't go into a client call being desperate, saying like, hey, I really hope you just give me some money. You can't do that. You have to be just as thorough. You have to be thorough with what's going on. Like, what are we doing? Like, what's the project? What is your budget? Are you like, what's your timeline? Why are you doing this project? What are the metrics of success? Or what things would make you feel like this project is working for you? And then you have to make sure you ask them about like, what is going on? Like, what's happening? Like, is this your only project, right? There's a lot of things that we can think about with our potential clients that aligns us with people who are going in the right direction. If you're not, okay. So James, you said you have what you do and my niche is in there too. Okay, but you also like, you want to use that space for anything that's useful for being found in like the search results. So if you add a sentence like that, that's like kind of what we're supposed to be doing, right? That sentence is like we're already supposed to be doing that. So it's a little bit like it's almost, I mean, in my mind, it feels a little redundant. Like you're supposed to be doing that. So like, of course, that's kind of like a given, right? When someone comes to your profile, they're like, of course, that's the thing. That's not getting you any extra points. What we want are extra points for like search results of types of content or niches or your title in there. Like we don't want to fill that space with anything extra. If you want to put that sentence somewhere else, feel free, but it's also like that's something we're supposed to be doing anyways. So I always feel like what your time and effort and content is better served is like, why are you unique? Like that's something like what that sentence says is like something that we're already supposed to be doing. So if you can tell me why you're unique as a writer, what types of skills you're bringing to the table, what types of things you excel at, and how that helps your clients, that's a way better use of any content on LinkedIn. Okay, so we're also asking these questions to make sure that these people aren't crazy. They're not red light clients, right? So if you're talking to someone, and this is something that I think is a really big positive thing about Zoom or doing video calls, is like when instead of doing telephone calls, now we get to see people face to face and we get to read them, right? So like if you're on a call with someone and they're doing 800 other things, like they're probably not your client. They're not even barely able to pay attention to your call, right? Like they can't spend 15 minutes just doing a one-on-one with you. They're like clicking around on their computer, they're doing other things, they're like checking their phone. Like that's not a good client. A good client is like making sure that you're the right fit. Like you two together are the right fit. Not just you, but you as a working pair of people who are going to work on this content work together well. So there should be engagement, right? And this is why I like video calls, is just like, I know that writers get really stressed about themselves, but you should be thinking like, hey, are we a fit together? Not like, oh my God, I hope they hire me, blah, blah, blah. It should be like, is this a fit? Because I can tell you from experience, no matter how much money someone gives you, if it's not a fit, it's going to be a huge disaster. So I've had projects where people have given me, really good long-term retainers, or it's been something where like it's a high earning project, but working with them it was so frustrating and so difficult. And you just become very bitter and upset about it. So the deal is like, we're using the calls as a way to fish out who is a good fit as a team, right? And who are we kind of, here you go, being a good girl. All right, buddy. I don't think I'm going to throw it. I don't think I'm going to throw it because I don't think you'll catch it. We're trying to fish out who's a right fit for us. Who are we good with as a team? Because the teamwork stuff is. Where are you going now? Where are you going? The team. Oh, sorry. You step on that? You're okay. I know it's like the little thing down there that might be a little hot or sharp. Go ahead. Good job. You're okay. Step on that thing. Um. So when you're thinking about fishing these clients out, right, you're trying to find the right fit. And the other thing too about long-term work is if you're working with the wrong person long term, it takes a lot of toll on your ability to do good work, right? So this is the other part where I feel like writers make mistakes. They're feeling that desperation perspiration so strong that they're just like, please somebody give me long-term work, and then they just take whatever's there instead of being strategic about getting on these long-term projects. You want to be on a long-term project with someone who's a fit for you, because then you get better results, better testimonials, better content, better collaboration. It's just wonderful across the board. Your ability to secure the long-term projects also means you have to have a strong ability to evaluate whether or not this client is good for you and your business long-term. Like, can you talk to this person, right? You're going to be talking to them a lot. Are they distracted all the time? Are they rude? Are they someone who's just like I've been on many calls where someone's like, explain to me why I should hire you. And I'm like, no, this is dumb. Like, why should we work together? Like, why should I hire you as a client? Like that, like they treat it very employee-like. If someone's treating you like an employee now, anything you see in the call, if they're treating you like an employee, if they are bad-mouthing the writer before you, if they are, distracted, if they're saying things that just like aren't sitting right with you, or they're not participating, right? Like they're not like engaged. That's how it will be working with them. I like there's so many times where I've gotten emails or or questions from freelance writers about how do I convince someone to stop doing this? Or how do I get someone to do this instead? You can't control other people. That's why these calls are really important, especially for long-term work. You have to figure out if that potential client is the right fit for you for the long term. Okay. You can't just like start a relationship and sign a contract with someone and then expect them to change. Like that's nut town, right? That's the thing I get often. I get a question about like, my client is doing this. And I'm like, were they doing it before you signed a contract? They're like, yeah, but I thought things would change now. No, no, no. Oh, here you go, Squeak. Okay, back to your hobble hole. There you go. Good job. Back to your hobble hole. Um, any types of weird red flaggy, red light, weird stuff you see before you sign a contract, that will continue into the relationship. And it will blow up your chances of keeping a long-term client. So there are times where, here you go, your long-term client, like when you get on that call or you talk to them via email and they're really inconsistent. Sometimes they answer you in 5 minutes or like 5 weeks later. That's going to continue into your project. So instead of trying to just get a project, or instead of trying to be like, I just need work, you need to do the right amount of marketing so you get to be picky, and then you get to get on these calls with people so you can say like you have 10 calls and you get to pick 2 or 1 of those people to be your client. That has to do with the numbers game of sending those LOIs, those letters of introduction, and if it's magazines, pitches. So that's the more important part, right? We're sending those out. We've done our pre-filtering process. Then we're getting on calls with people who have already been multiple times pre-filtered. So we're kind of doing a fit call. We're trying to see what the project is and what the goals are, what's kind of happening with their other content. But it's also like, should we even move forward? It's not about like, there's a ton of people out there who want to work with you. There's tons of them out there who want to work with you. There is not like a lack of freelance writing work. You have to go dig for it and find it, and you have to align with the right people. So for me, the right client for me is probably not the right client for you, right? Or maybe 80% of what's right for me is only 50% right for you, right? You have to find those right fits for you and make sure that before you ever sign anything that we're all on the same page, because all of that stuff continues into like the disorganization or asking you to do weird little things you don't want to do, or the fact that they care about some plugin that doesn't matter, right? Or like things where they're like, oh, we use this like weird tool to check if things are working, and you're like, that tool doesn't work. Like all that stuff continues into your relationship. Good job. And it will continue for the long term. And what ends up happening is a lot of times writers just get out of those deals. Like even if they have a long-term contract, they're just like, this is crazy. This is a crazy daisy. I got to get out of here. Okay, so let's talk about 4. This is our last little piece here. Let's talk about 4. Boop. 4. Okay. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. So let's talk about mistakes. I've already mentioned several mistakes as we've gone through this this live stream today, but I feel like there's other things too where like the mistake I often see, right, is the desperation, perspiration. You cannot be so desperate on your clients. And I know that we are sometimes, but what you're what you want to do is still be particular, even if you're desperate for work and desperate for clients. This all comes back to being really more thorough with your marketing and doing more marketing. Then you get to be picky, but also understanding that you have to be selective about who you work with. So when you're kind of doing all of this stuff for long-term work and securing these consistent freelance writing jobs, you should be confident that you can figure it out and that you can find the right fit for you. This comes back to having choices, right? So sending those, like I always say, like 50 to 75 LOIs a month, or you need to be doing at least 1 hour of marketing a day. So you want to give yourself choices. You want to have more ability to find better clients for you. You have to create those opportunities. We're not scouring stuff for opportunities because the best opportunities are the ones you make yourself, okay? And this is something where like we're like going out there and from our own like analysis, figuring out which clients like probably have a marketing budget, right? Their revenue falls in those ranges, and they're also creating content. This is a big thing with creating content where I see a lot of writers go in and they're like, oh, I'll just sell them on a blog or I'll sell them on a case study. Like they need case studies. Nope. The deal is that you're going in there and you're talking to them about their needs. So if you send an LOI saying like, they need all this content, you need to do this, like da 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 da. No, that doesn't work. It doesn't work. It's just a waste of time. Like I used to do that for years. I did that for like multiple years and it just was a disaster. What you need to do is like be open, right? Be open to what they're going to talk about. Hey, I would love to hear more about your needs. And then when you get on a call with them, you listen to their needs. You don't just try to shove content down their throat because there's a lot of stuff going on internally that you don't know about, okay? There's a lot of goals that they have. And it doesn't matter that their competitors might be doing white papers. They don't want to do white papers. They want to do case studies because they've noticed that when they did white papers, it didn't work out as well as case studies, right? And if you're going in there being like, white papers, they're just going to ignore you and be like, no, we want case studies. This isn't the right writer for us. But if you go in there with a good LOI that asks basically like, hey, how do you need help? I'm happy to help. And then you get on a call and you're a good listener and you respond to them, right? And you see what kinds of things they need help with. That's a lot better of a marker for getting a long-term project than going in there and trying to force a bunch of content down their throats, okay? The other mistake too is that they, like I mentioned in the very beginning, a lot of freelance writers don't spend the time to learn the process and then understand their ideal client. So they think everyone is their ideal client, which is clearly not the case. And what you need to know is like, so for me, I know a lot about my ideal client in terms of like, I know that they're usually a Series B or a Series C startup. They have usually $20 to $50 million. I know what types of content they're either creating or not creating. I know what they should be creating in their niche. I know what might work on LinkedIn or social media. I've worked with enough of these people to know what I'm looking for. So even if I do find a similar company in the similar niche with a similar revenue, just by looking at that company, I'm able to say yes, 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 no, no, no. But it's about going through the process, right? The process of making your list, cutting by revenue, getting on calls, learning your things, right? Your things that work for you with a long-term client and the things that don't, right? James says it's easy to get desperate when you only have one prospective client reach out to you. This isn't just about people reaching out to you. You have to be found. Like you have to go send LOIs to be found. So I, like, I can tell you, I was desperate for many, many years, like 5 years or whatever it was. I don't know, many, many years. And that desperation doesn't help you get clients. And it's not just about one prospective client reaching out to you. It's about putting all of these little holes that they can fall into, right? It's about that prospective client seeing your LinkedIn and website and being like, yes, this is the right person for me. It's improving that piece so they can fall into LinkedIn or they can fall into your website, which basically means they come across it in search results or someone recommends it or they see it when they're looking for something else. But the other thing too is that um, the matter of success isn't how many people reach out to you. The measure of success is like, what are you doing to move your business forward? Woo, go back to your hovel hole. This is something that I always talk about with my students is they're like, yeah, but nobody wants me, or like something like basically that like, oh, well, no one's like sending things to my inbox to work with me. And it's like, yeah, but you're not going out there and doing what you can to have your business be found, or you're not doing anything to get your name out there. I've had people I've sent LOIs to that never answered me, who sent my LOI to someone else and they were like, hey, Steve sent me your LOI. I would love to work with you, right? And that's because I sent something out. It's not about like, if I worried so much about how many people were reaching out to me, like as a metric of success every single time, I wouldn't have my business now. You have to do the things every single day that move your business forward. And that means like setting up LinkedIn in your website, refreshing those regularly, like every 3 to 6 months ish. Um, and then making sure that you're doing the marketing, that you're getting out there, that you're able to be found, right? Eventually, what ends up happening is if you do enough of this stuff, people, like the right clients, find you on a consistent basis. Like they're sending you emails because they found your portfolio or website or LinkedIn, or they saw a clip of yours on another place and they're like, we love that, come work for us, right? So eventually you get to a point where like you have a lot more inbound leads because you've already set up these systems, but you have to set up the system first. You have to do all that hard work first. And you have to do the hard work of like being found. You're not just like, someone just doesn't stumble on your portfolio when you haven't done all this work of like making it easy to find on the internet, or setting up your marketing, or you look so funny, or actually doing the things like you're looking like you want to be rewarded for the action steps that you take forward in your business. That's the most important part. Like I went years and years and years. Like I remember there was a very long stretch of time where I didn't have anyone reach out to me. Like I didn't have anybody send anything into my inbox to work with me. It was long stretches, like many, like nobody would ever find my stuff. But once I started understanding how to send LOIs and how to figure out who my ideal client was and actually reaching out, people started finding me, or people would pass my stuff on, or they would find more of my clips like in different places because I sent an LOI or a pitch, right? It's not just about like, it's not just about like just waiting. We are not waiting for people to reach out to us. I'm telling you how to do that and how to increase that and how to like get more inbound leads in your inbox. But we also have to take action. You got to take action every single day to move your business forward. So there's another. So James also says, how do we transition from those $200 to $2,000 projects or more? So this is something that I mentioned in the free masterclass. So if you guys still, I have one more spot. If you wanted to jump in the free masterclass, go to mandyellis.com/masterclass3. It's Wednesday, 4/19 at 12 p.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Central, 3 p.m. Eastern, and then 7 p.m. GMT or 8 p.m. BST, depending on which British thing you want to be on. But when you're transitioning to these things, it's the same process. You have to be doing the marketing. You have to be sending the LOIs so that you get to be pickier. You also have to set your project minimum. You have to stop taking these little projects. And this is something where like I talked to, actually, Vesna and I talked about this the other day. Stop spackling in your space with little projects. Like this is how I burned out. I was doing tons and tons of these $200 projects, $400 projects, $500 projects. And I was exhausted. I was working all the time and I was making no money. And the deal is like, I would just fill all my time with projects instead of creating schedule space to have like bigger projects, number one, and stopping, like, not, instead of taking 10 out of 10 small projects, I would take 8 out of 10. And then you also have to make sure that you're doing the marketing. Like, this is, this is the thing. You have to set up LinkedIn and your website so that you can start capturing people. Then you're also doing the marketing. Like, you have to have options in order to transition into these bigger projects, or into projects that actually make a difference in your bottom line of your business and allow you to have long-term work. You have to be reaching out. You have to be adding connections. Excuse me. You have to be sending LOIs. You have to be sending pitches. You have to be figuring out who your ideal client is so that you can connect with them on LinkedIn. You have to be growing your freelance writer network, and then having people understand what your business is so they can potentially send leads your way. You have to be paying attention to your niches, like what types of companies are growing, what types of companies are shrinking, what types of companies are doing layoffs that you could potentially go over there and ask if they need help with their work. Yeah, live the freelancer life, Vesna. So it's always going to be a transition, but you also have to make that space available. Like, you can't just keep accepting. This is how I burned out super hard and thought I was going to quit freelance writing, is like accepting these small projects over and over again. The way that you're like, you have to have stuff going on. You have to send the marketing, the LOIs. And that gives you more choices, right? Now we have more calls. Now we have more options. And every time in my business where I'm like, everything's terrible, I do a little marketing and I'm like, oh, I have like 3 calls with potential clients now. It's fine. So you have to start like setting a boundary with how many of those small projects you're going to take. And you have to make sure that you're sending out the marketing so you have different options, right? You have more options to choose from in terms of clients. And then you can be really picky about, do I want $1,000 project, or like, do I want to take a $2,000 project, or what are these clients doing? Are they having the right long-term projects for me? Or are they people who are like shooting up all these red flags and they shouldn't be my client? This goes back to the same thing, right? You have to learn who your ideal client is. And most of the time, your ideal client is not a small business. It's not like, a lot of times writers play small. They're like, oh, I'm small, so I should go for small companies. No, if you want actual bigger projects, you have to go to bigger, bigger clients. You have to go after those clients who have a marketing budget. A lot of times when we work with solopreneurs or small businesses, not all of them, but many of them can end up being very inconsistent. They don't have the money to pay quality rates. You end up doing a lot of these one-offs. That was another thing I stopped doing, was I stopped taking one-off blog posts. Like, I was just like, I'm not doing that anymore. So when I would get on a call with a client, and they wanted to talk about blog posts, I would be like, no, I'm not doing like, the only way to do blog posts with me is to do 4 blog posts a month for an initial 90-day period. And that was a really great option for changing myself out of $200 to a $2,000 project. Was I would start saying like, hey, this is like the only way, like, this is the only way I'm doing blog posts. And I would explain that to them, like, why are we doing this? Or how does this help them? Why 3 months? Like, I would go over different things with them so that they understood like why that's the most valuable. It's not valuable to do a short amount of content. It's valuable to do long-term content. That's what gets the results. So there's a lot of things that we can do to make that transition. You also have to make opportunities available to yourself. You can't just sit around and wait for people to reach out to you. You can't just like hope that someone finds you. They won't. You have to become more available. Like, you have to send out the LOIs. You have to make yourself available on the websites or the publications that they might read, right? So you start pitching them to get up there and they say, hey, we like your work. Come work for us. I've also had interviewees ask me to work for them. So people that I have interviewed for a bunch of articles have asked me to do projects with them. And that's another way that I transition to bigger projects. There's just so many different things that we can do. It's more like, it's never waiting. It's always going after what you want. If you want those bigger projects, you have to go after it. You have to do all that stuff. And it is scary and it's frustrating and it's hard, but there's a lot of things that come from it that are truly worth it. It's one of the biggest changes in my life. Like, when I made that transition from doing those small one-off projects, like when I burned out in 2018 and I had to basically start over and it ruined, like, I just started completely over again. that changed my business. That helped me get on the path to build the business I have now. But it's also all of these different things that you have to make yourself available. Like you have to populate your own marketing pipeline, and I think that's a really important thing. Okay, let's see. Any other mistakes? Let me think about. If you feel like this has been helpful, give it a thumbs up. If you want to learn more about building a freelance writing business you adore, subscribe. I'm trying to think of any mistakes I haven't mentioned yet because I've already mentioned several. I just think that one of the biggest mistakes is like you have to meet them on their level. So not only what I just said, where like you have to you do the work, you've got to send the LOIs and you got to send a bunch of them, but you also have to meet them on their wavelength. There's a lot of writers that play too small and they think they're too small, and then they don't meet these high quality clients on their level. You have to meet them where they're at. And that comes from building confidence by going through the calls, by just sending the marketing, by growing your LinkedIn network, by talking to more people, by meeting more writers and learning from their business, right? There's a lot of different metrics there that um, help us grow our business and help us kind of meet them on the wavelength. So if you start reading your ideal clients' LinkedIn pages, right? Like their company page, their website, their content, you can absorb more of that and then put that in your own LinkedIn and website so you can meet them at their level, right? If you're just kind of writing in the dark and you haven't done the research into who, like, what are all these clients? Like, what do they actually do? What does their website look like? Their social media, their LinkedIn, their actual content. You haven't read 20 pieces of their content. You don't have enough information. You're not doing enough research. And I think that's definitely a mistake. Freelance writers are just like, my ideal client just has money and wants me to write for them. No, you have to know what they talk about, how they talk about it, what types of content they're creating, why they're creating that content. What does that content look like? Like when you go read it, how rich is it? Or is it actually really great quality? Or do you think it could use some help? Like there's a lot of different things that we need to look at. And if you haven't done the research and you haven't read a bunch of stuff and you haven't, oh my gosh, go away, reminders. You haven't looked into your clients. Like if you haven't read through 100 different websites in your ideal clients, or if you haven't read through a bunch of content, or if you haven't like talked to a bunch of people, you haven't done enough research to know who your ideal client is. You have to do that. It's not like 10 things. It's a lot. And this is something that I always recommend to my students is like, if you're going to write for a magazine, you need to read 20 to 50 articles. You need to read a lot. And this is something that I think gets skipped. You have to do the research, you have to do the reading, and then you kind of know a lot more. Like you're like, oh, I noticed that in 5 of those websites, they all kind of said this similar thing. I know how to help them with that. Let me put that in LinkedIn or my website, right? That kind of research is super helpful for you to like make the transition into meeting them at the right wavelength and also getting long-term projects. Philip says, how do I start my career in freelancing? Okay, so Philip, I have a playlist that says like how to start freelance writing. So if you go in my channel to that playlist, I have a whole bunch of videos to start freelancing. So I would go do those, but also there's like a ton of things to do to start freelancing, Philip. So I would make sure that you're watching those videos, you're understanding how to get clients, what a good client looks like. You're understanding like how to actually find jobs, right? Like that's kind of what we're talking about here is kind of long-term jobs. But that's why I made that playlist. So go to the playlist that says basically like how to start freelance writing. That has like 10 or 12 videos on like all the different steps that you can use to get started with freelance writing. Okie dokie. I think that's the end of all my lists there. And I don't think we have any questions. I think I answered the other question before, like this one. Yeah, I think I already answered that one. Cool. Okay. So last announcement. Oh, Philip, I'm also hosting a free masterclass. I forgot this. So Philip, if you go to mandyellis.com/masterclass3, I'm hosting a free live masterclass on how to build a high earning freelance writing business. So that's another thing. You can join the free masterclass, and I give a whole bunch of cherry picked tips from my own 6-figure business on how to like launch or level up your business and how to find those clients and how to make sure like everything is in place for your business. It's on Wednesday, April 19th at noon Pacific. 2 p.m. Central, 3 p.m. Eastern, and then 7 p.m. GMT / 8 p.m. BST, which is British Standard Time. So that's my free masterclass. You can hop on in. It's my last one that I'm running until September. So if you want to hop in, it's free. Do that. If you haven't gotten my free pricing guide, I would go to mandyellis.com/pricing guide. It's free. It includes tons of different types of projects, all different types of advice about how to get started, how to kind of find some clients. Hi, Woo. I see you. And I update it regularly. So I just updated it like, I don't remember, like 6 months ago or so. So it includes a lot more stuff in there, and that's free. Cool. Okay. If there's, I don't see anything else. So I hope that this is helpful, and I hope it helps you see that there's a connection, not so much in the jobs part of freelance writing jobs, but more so in the connection of like clients and understanding the process and doing the marketing, right? And actually getting yourself out there and then having the right frequency in your LinkedIn and your website to attract the right clients. It's not simply just like finding like a job listing, and it's not getting on a platform. It's not like finding the things that are posted. That's not it. It's you digging for diamonds. It's you getting out there. It's you taking action every single day to find long-term work, to find the right clients, and you moving the needle, right? You actually taking action to move your business forward every single day. All right, people. Yes, would you like to say goodbye to the people? You just want to sit there and look cute? You got to go back to your hobble hole. No, you got to go back to your, oh, careful. Jeez. Here you go, buddy. Charlotte, you really got spicy there. Boop. Boop. Good job. Okay, can you maybe do a round? Can you go around for everybody? Can you go around? Come on, around. Come on, you can do it, around. Good job. Good girl. Good job. You did it. You're a spicy hamster, and you drooled all over the place. That's okay. Go back to your hobble hole. All right, Barry, you ready? Oh, you dropped one. There's one by your leg. All right, ready? Boop, boop. Good job. Okay, one last thing I forgot to mention. If you sign up for the free masterclass, you will get the replay. So even if you can't make the time of the free masterclass, sign up. You'll get the replay. Okay. I hope everybody has a good Friday. I hope that this was helpful. I feel like we covered a ton that I didn't intend to cover in this, but that was important for us to cover. So that's always good. And I hope that this was helpful in you understanding how to find more long-term work and connect with the right clients. And we're here every Friday at noon Central Time. If you just go to mandyellis.com/live. I don't even know if I have a link for that. I guess I don't. If you go to mandyellis.com/live, we're here every Friday. It'll pull you into YouTube, and you'll be able to come hang out on the live streams. I hope everybody has a good weekend. I will see you next Friday. And Charlotte says goodbye. Bye.